Hello, this is Joe Peters from MomFit with Joe Peters. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network and the Her Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Single TV app in the respective IO app stores in iOS and Android devices. While you are downloading, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Singo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV, Roku, and Roku Stick in all smart TVs. And right now on Friday, if you are not following me on the social media, please go to Instagram or Facebook and find Joe Unicorn Coach. Follow me there. I handle all my social media. If you have any questions about motherhood, about your baby, about parenting, send me a DM. And if I don't know the answer, I will make sure to find somebody like Samantha that can come as a guest to help us together as a community of moms to win the marathon of motherhood without burnout. I am super excited to have a repeater. Actually, Samantha was in the show a couple of months ago, and we did such an amazing show that we decided to rebook her to expand in her knowledge and wisdom. Samantha St. Louis is a nurse clinician, childbirth educator, breastfeeding consultant, sleep educator, and parenting consultant. She's one of those have it all in one as part of your team, Mama. As a mother of five children, age five and under herself, Samantha is intimately aware of the challenges mothers face daily and use her own teachings to navigate her life as a large family mom and an international successful business owner. Her prior research in epigenetics focused on the relationship between nurture and nature on long term health outcomes. She found that the most important predictive factors were a mother and her child early health. Yet, the support simply was not there. Mothers were sent to home with huge responsibilities and little to no guidance. She made her life mission to remedy this. In 2018, she found BeBaby, a company that offers the Peace of Mind parenting program, the only all encompassing parenting incubator support program, bringing together all of the resources parenting could ever need to achieve peace of mind while being parents. From getting children and their mothers better to sleep, making daily life easier, and making charge and taking charge of families' health. BeBaby has helped thousands of families worldwide and continues to offer more services, programs, volunteer educational service, and more as she, her team, and her family grow. Samantha, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here again. Thank you for accepting to be a guest again. Last time we have over 1 million people seeing the show, and I'm sure that this time is going to be even better. Let's gonna start a little bit with a little story about who you are and why you make your mission in life to help other moms, and also talk a little bit about the phrase that you choose for this show, that is stop surviving and start thriving. Welcome to the show, Samantha.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It was a pleasure last time, and I'm sure it's going to be a pleasure this time. So, like you said, I'm actually a nurse clinician by trade. That's what I studied to be when I was younger, when I went to college initially. But throughout, I never stopped studying, even when I became a nurse. I'm this type of person who has a constant thirst for knowledge. And so I decided to pursue my education as I was practicing as a nurse. And I found an absolute love for epigenetics at some point, which is the study of how nature versus nurture will impact how your genes will either be turned on or off in the future, because everybody is born with a certain genetic makeup. But even if you have a gene for a certain mental health illness, it does not mean that gene will turn on and you will experience that mental health illness. So Nurture, right, is the part of your environment, your overall health. So we're talking like nutrition, sleep, parenting styles, like your physical environment. All of that plays a huge factor in what genes are turned on or off. And we found that the best predictor, as you said, of having a healthy outcome of this phenomenon was early pediatric and maternal health. And community research showed that there was little to no resources, about that. But also in terms of what we're going to be specifically talking about today, there is a cultural um, damaging misconception, or even I want to say like paradigm that we've created in our society, where we normalize this basically survival mode in parenting. So the sentence or the phrase, stop surviving and start thriving, is a phrase that we use at BeBaby because it's our clients who actually came up with it. They said that when they entered the program, they felt like their parenting journey and their life overall, so we're talking careers, marriages, parenting, overall health, everything was in survival mode. Just making it through today and making it through tomorrow. Being tired, exhausted, stressed out, anxious, and not really being able to enjoy much of anything, versus by the end of them graduating our program, which aims to resolve all the milestones that we identified as necessary to make parents thrive. They identified that, they said, I'm thriving now, I'm not just surviving today. Every day I wake up, my day goes smoothly for the most part, and I'm able to focus on short-term and long-term projects. I'm able to focus on dreams. I'm able to actually appreciate the moments with my children, appreciate moments in my marriage, appreciate and be inspired in my career. So that's why we say our goal is to stop parents from just being in pure survival, like getting through the day, to actually enjoying life the way it was meant to be enjoyed.
And I think that you are a huge testimonial of, like, I can witness that you walk the talk, because I will never forget. I get a little confused with the blonde hair, but I will never forget that first show that we were together. And I found out that your newborn was less than a week old. I think that he was like 6 weeks, 6 days old. And you were still thriving here, sharing, of course, handling all that, but full of vitality, not in what we assume as society as should be a mom in her first couple of weeks. So I think that it is a very inspirational for everybody that is hearing us to see that and see that that is possible. That is possible. And I want to thank you for walking that talk and show what it could be and how it could be. Now, Samantha was gonna go right in. I know that you were talking about those messages, and let's gonna talk about what do you think that motherhood has gained a bad reputation, and how it has skewed our expectations and even get us. I will even be bold enough to say addicts, to feel that need to keep doing more and that we is not enough what we are doing.
So I think, for the title of this show specifically, which is different than the last one, the fact that we're normalizing being exhausted really is, if you look on in movies, on TV shows, even, over social media, etc., there is this constant talk and encouragement and normalization of like, well, being a mom is, terribly hard. And I'm not saying that it's not, but it's like, it's hard, it's sacrificial, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to gain 50 pounds, you're going to age 20 years, you're going to have to let go of your career, outcomes, just work enough to make the money, but that don't have dreams, goals, and promotions, right? Because you have to work like you have no children, but you also need to parent like you have no job. And we both know That's not going to happen. So basically, there's this, it's so weird. We're promoting family work balance, but we're also not promoting it because we're saying that it's impossible, whereas it is possible, but we're refusing to acknowledge it and actually put in place things that will work. And so it's almost become and sorry for the term, but it's almost become like a pissing contest. Where even in the Western society beyond moms, there's a certain pride associated to who's more overworked, who's the most tired, who's the most exhausted, who's the most busy. And within moms, that, contest is like way up here. So you'll see working moms versus stay-at-home moms, arguing who's most tired, and then work at home moms versus those who work outside the home competing about who's, most tired, and moms of one versus moms of three. And um it's instead of like focusing on, hey, we're all pretty tired right now. We need to find a solution collectively because this is not working, ladies. It's more like, well, working moms are more tired or this or that. And I've been a stay at home mom. I've been a working mom. I've worked from home. I've worked in an office. I've done all of those categories and above. And what I have to, they're all very challenging, and the way in which you adapt to those challenges are different. But I've been able to thrive in all of those roles by adapting that. So I think the biggest damage that we have right now is not only are moms exhausted and overwhelmed, and the expectations on them are all the way up here, and the support is all the way down here, which is a problem in of itself. But the fact that we're constantly, encouraging it, whether we mean to or not, the fact that we're making it normal, and people, even who have large followings, who people look up to, saying, well, that's just the way it is. And, when you have a newborn, you won't sleep. And, in a kind way, saying, get used to it, and there's no solution to it. This is a problem because even if you survive that sleep deprivation, good for you. That doesn't mean the next mom will, without having dire consequences of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, her marriage breaking down, her career breaking down. We have to stop complaining about it to the point of normalizing it and focus on getting a solution instead.
And I think that one of the topics there that is about how we can start being the change is you are completely right. I was, when you were talking, I was starting to think, and I don't think that I can think on even one show or movie where the stereotype of a new mom is not a completely exhausted woman in a robe with a big cup of coffee, barely being able to function because she's so tired. You don't see in the movies, in the shows, moms thriving and enjoying, and that is becoming the norm. But
Mhm,
also, and this is something that I would like to hear your opinion on what we can do to start changing as females, is that common phrase of, oh, wait because it gets worse, or wait until these other things. So these moms are being brave to say, I'm struggling, something hard is happening. And majority of the times, I don't know for what reason, instead of surrounding them with help and support and tools, it's almost like, I pay the price, you have to pay it too. A lot of what we hear is, oh, wait until this other thing happen. If it's newborn, wait until the sleep progression of the 4 month happen. And then we keep like this terrorizing thing of new moms getting even more anxious because they're like, I thought that this was hard, but they are all telling me that it's only getting worse and worse. So talking about epigenetics and that, we start kind of looking for those problems and those issues.
mhm. And that, people don't realize, but that forces your body to go in a state of fight or flight, right? But on a chronic long-term basis. So your, nervous system is divided into two, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Parasympathetic system is when you're relaxed and you're calm, you're preparing to go to bed, you're digesting food, all that fun, calm, moments. Your sympathetic nervous system is there to make use of low stress. So there is a certain level of stress that temporarily is good for you, like when you're trying to meet a deadline at work and it makes you more focused and more efficient. But it's also there for a lion is trying to eat you and you need to panic. And some people will run and some people will freeze, right? But there's a physiological response to that of heightened stress hormones, a shift of blood flow from your digestive system, to your muscles, which slows down digestion and all of that. And your body is able to sustain that for short periods of time. The problem is when we take a new mom who's overwhelmed and scared because she feels like, oh my goodness, you know, here he is, here she is. She's tiny, she's so fragile. And I realized that all of my baby list shopping and all that has not prepared me for this at all. And I'm not sure what to do. And I don't know how to fix this. And everything is sore. And I'm quite tired. And everybody's coming around, but nobody's helping. They're just going, ooh, ah, cute, the baby. Mom can be covered in blood stains in the hospital. And they'll take pictures of the baby in their own arms with the mom basically laying in her own blood in the bed behind her, which is, problem. And then after that, if the mom, says, I'm not doing well, this is harder than I thought, and I need help, the message they will get either politely or unpolitely, depending on who you're talking to, is, hey, I did it, you'll be fine. Or even from their own husbands, they will hear, my mom did it without help, you'll be fine. Or this is the worst one I've ever heard of a mom who asked for my help. And her husband literally told her, you're a smart cookie, you'll figure it out. I don't care how smart she is. She said she needs help. It does not matter how smart you think she is. She is smart enough to reach out for help when she needs to. But there's this, we're basically locking these new moms, right, in a box. And we're telling them, I know you want to get out, but you need to stay there because that's the price to pay to be a mom. And so they end up cocooning on themselves and closing in even more on themselves. And so from the outside, hey, yeah, it's great, I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. But on the inside, a lot of them are struggling, but they stop expressing. They'll say that they're tired, they'll say that they're overwhelmed, but they will stop expressing the real extreme impact that they're experiencing. And so even their spouses, when mom reaches that breaking point and seeks out help, the spouse will say, well, it's not so bad, we can tough it out. And the reality is that mom is still in her box, and the box looks pretty good from the outside minus a few scratches, but on the inside of that box, she's on fire. She's long gone beyond the point of what she could sustain. And so I end up in situations where moms reach out for help, but they don't even dare have their husbands on the call because they don't want to tell their husbands how bad it is. Their husbands have no idea. They're oblivious to how bad it actually is and how much they're struggling and how much they're keeping it inside, because one time she did try and express it and he said something, I'm sorry, stupid, along the lines of, you're a smart cookie, or my mom did it without any help. It is not up for you to decide when her breaking point is. And so this is why I really visualize that mom in a box. And when
And
I
and
meet
I think that one of the things that is important, and you are bringing this huge message, and that is the other gap that I'm seeing with what you are talking is because other moms or families are like, oh, I was able to do it, you can. Then we start doubting ourselves and start thinking, what is wrong with me that everybody else that I know is being able to do it and I'm struggling. So that mean that I am weaker than everybody else. So I have to tough it up. I have to push harder because if I see the paradigm, and I'm the only different, and I'm the only one struggling. And the feedback that I had is my mother-in-law was able to do it, my mom did it without help, my aunts did it, my sister did it. Then that is the norm, and what I'm experiencing is the abnormality. And that is why I think that is what you are saying, that when they finally reach to the point to reach to Samantha, they are way beyond the point of help, because they are being on that gap trying to push and thinking that it's their fault, that they are not doing something wrong. I will tell you something with exhaustion. I was telling you in the green room, my youngest is my baby has is 26 months, and I went to Bali for 4 weeks, and I did not realize for over 24 months how tired I was, until I was able to extract myself from my environment, be in a completely different country, even with the jet lag and all that, but being able to do a different pattern of sleep, going to bed early because I didn't have all the must do in my home. And then as soon as I start resting, how different I felt, how I realized how tired I was. I will tell you something. I was being struggling for months to release weight. And I went there, start resting, start sleeping, and even eating a lot more than what I was eating here when I
Mhm.
was being conscious about those pounds that I want to release. I came down 4 pounds lighter. And when I put my investigator hat in it, the only difference, it was not that I was eating, well, the United States had a lot of crap in their food, but it was not that I was eating healthier there. I was actually even having some things that I normally don't do. It was that I was resting, that I
Mhm.
was not in that fight or flight response for so long that was becoming chronic for me. And that is huge. So that comes into my second point with you. And that is, I know that you are a fierce advocate to create a new paradigm, to make a movement where we believe that we are worthy to be the best mothers that we can be, and be the best us simultaneously, that we don't have to choose. I'm very aligned with that, because one of the things that I work with women is that concept of you can have it all, and is you don't have to choose, you don't have to sacrifice yourself to be a good mom. So let's going to talk a little bit about that new paradigm and how we can start working towards that state.
It's funny because obviously I'm on a lot of platforms, right? I have a lot of visibility. We have a very large Facebook group. We have a big following, and there are people in my industry. So, doulas, breastfeeding consultants, and what have you, who sometimes are uncomfortable with me because I'm a mom of five kids. My kids are 5, 4, 3, 21 months old, and now 4 months old. Um, I'm an immigrant, so I'm on a business immigration visa. If you know anything about that, that's extremely time consuming. I'm a very large business owner. I don't have a small business. I have a very, very big business with a lot of people. I homeschool my children as well. We eat very healthy. We do a lot of activities. We try and be, active individuals. And I help a lot of people, just off the side. I do a little bit of business coaching and what have you. So arguably I have a very busy, busy life. And when I come online and I share, that I'm healthy looking, that I don't look exhausted. I mean, I look like I have bags, but it's just because I'm getting old. I'm not actually tired. That's, something else. But I'm, energetic. I sleep enough. My marriage is thriving. I love homeschooling my children. I love running my business. I love doing all of these things. And some people actually give me flack for that, for promoting the idea that you can be all that and a bag of chips, like the women in my family like to say. And I find that despicable, because what I explain to moms is every one of us can be all the things that we want to do, but there's a strategy to it, there's a secret to it, there are tools, information, and guidance that you need to achieve that. But the problem is we are self blocking and blocking society as a whole in getting those, that guidance. And so the mothers or the practitioners who basically say, oh, well, it's all crap, none of these moms may possibly be happy and rested and healthy, it's because they themselves were never given the tools and the guidance and the information, and thus their experience of parenthood was not that. But as my grandmother always says, she used to wash her clothes in a river on a cheese grater. That doesn't mean you should throw away your washing machine if it's available today so that you clean your clothes in the river. Well, the same thing for parenting. Yes, there was a time not long ago where there was no information, tools, and guidance to overcome the new challenges of motherhood, because now many of us are providers. And we are the main caregivers, and we fulfill, all of the cleaning and cooking duties many times. And we're the thinking cap of many of our families. We organize finances, we organize appointments, we take care of, like, we've basically ended up with a triple quadruple job. And is that fair? Absolutely not. But it's going to take more than one generation to fix that, and we should focus on that, but it will take more than one generation. That being said, because we're in this generation and it's not completely fixed, does that mean we should just wallow in it? No. What can we do right now, today, to make this better? We can get information, guidance, and tools specifically engineered to fix that. And at BeBaby, that's what we do. That's what we offer. But there's this mental blockage of, and this is what I find funny, is sometimes I hosted a free sleep seminar at the end of July, basically right after giving birth, right? And obviously, I had just had a newborn, 5 kids. I was preparing to move just a month later, and I started my seminar. And there was like one or two people in the pack of people watching the seminar who would argue with all the advice that I gave. Now, keep in mind, I'm a world-renowned sleep expert, and people sign up for this seminar because they're exhausted, and what they've been trying to do clearly doesn't work. And there was this one or two people, and it's always like that, who will argue with what I say because, well, so and so said not to do that, and so said you can't breastfeed to sleep, and so and so. And usually I just, try and very calmly talk about it, but I had just had a baby. I did not have time for it. So I literally stopped mid conversation. I said, okay, listen to me. You are here because you're exhausted and what you've been doing has not worked. You have two choices. Either you listen, you learn, and you fix your problem, or if you want to wallow in your problem, exit the room. Because here we're about solutions, not about complaining about our life. We are here to listen, understand, and find solutions. And a few people found me rude, but I mean, I had just had a baby. I was just, you know, um, it was actually our biggest, most successful seminar we have ever had to date. People loved it. People signed up for our program in in tens and 20s every single day as a result of that, because it was the first time that somebody acknowledged the fact that instead of wallowing in it, why don't we focus on a solution? And if your car breaks down and you can't fix it, you'll call a mechanic, you'll fix it, right? You're not going to wait for your car to explode on the highway. If your water or your washing machine is leaking all over the floor in your house, you're not just going to sit there and post on social media and say, oh, well, I guess my house is going to get flooded now, woo is me, right? You're going to call somebody to fix it, to fix the problem. But when it comes to motherhood, problems accumulate, and we don't try and fix them. And it makes no sense.
I love that. And I also love that part of it's a pattern on us as females. And I love how you did it. Thank goodness to your newborn for that. Because I was actually talking in a forum 2 weeks ago about it, and with something similar, but we were talking about men over talking and taking our ideas. And then it was very similar to what we were saying before. The overall female feedback and answer was, oh, handle it politely and manage it like this. And then I say something similar to you. It's like, we are not going to stop this until we start calling it out. And calling it out is saying, hey, if you are here, you're looking for answers. And if everything that I'm telling you is not resonating, then that means that you have a better way to solve your problem. Go ahead. So I love that energy of calling out moms into that, breaking that pattern, the brain pattern of saying my cycle is, this is my life, it sucks, I just complain about it, I wish I was better, but whenever I have an option, a solution, a plan, then I only find all the reasons why it's not going to work and why it's not going to be for me. And then we need leaders, mom leaders like you, to say, hey, stop. Do you realize how crazy is what you are doing? No,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Now, I know that is all about the work that you're doing. Why we don't talk about what are some of the things that moms need to do? Well, before we go there, it's gonna go very quickly because we were talking a lot about new moms with being exhausted, with that. This is something that I started discovering through this first year of this show, and that is, and you have this firsthand, but every baby is different. So every time that you are a mom, you are a new mom. Like, a new mom doesn't mean your first child. New mom means every time that you have a new baby, you are a new mom, because hey, with the sleep, with breastfeeding, with colics, with temperament, you, like, I don't know, your first four kids could be completely different, and then your last kid can be completely different, and you are back in the zero perspective. So what do you think about that, and how we can start also changing that concept of, oh, this is your second, this is your third, like, you should not be struggling, you should know what to do.
Oh
And
my goodness. As a mom of five, thank you. Okay. So the mom of five also needs warm meals made and prepared for her family when she gives birth. Okay, guys, if you're a grandmother or a grandfather or a sister-in-law, we need help too. Okay. So I see this all the time, and it happened to me. When I had my first son, my mom, bless her, had prepared a few lasagnas, that she has frozen, and she had given me before birth. By the time I had my second, there was no hot meals. There wasn't that many with my first, arguably, but with my second, there was none whatsoever. With my third, I started experiencing that. Yeah, she gave birth. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's have a family reunion at that place. Nobody took into consideration the fact that I had given birth, 2 days prior. Literally, we had like zero help from day one, not once. By the fourth baby, they completely normalized it and said, yeah, you're used to it, right? It's fine. It's fine. By the fifth baby, I didn't even get so much as a phone call or congratulations, or is there anything I could do for you, or how are you feeling, except for my friends who also have 4, 5, 6 kids. They're the only ones who actually reached out to ask me, how I'm doing. I was back to work within 24 hours because I had no choice, because I had put staff in place to cover me after giving birth, but this happened or that happened, and so they needed to take time off. But nobody cares, and not that nobody cares, but I think nobody acknowledges that every birth is a new motherhood journey. And even after having 5 kids, you know what, everything is sore on the fifth one, just as it was sore on the first one, even more so. There's less opportunity for rest, so you need more warm cooked meals, you need more check-ins of how are you doing. You need more the more kids you have. Every baby is starkly different. We have had many clients that their first babies, lucky for them, fantastic sleepers, and so they went into having a second one thinking motherhood is easy. I don't know what you're talking about, Sam. Like, my first was just so wonderful. And then the second one comes, and this time they're a little bit less lucky, and they get a baby who has colics and witching hours and, all of that. And baby's waking up every 45 minutes at night. And they're like, What is this? And I'm standing there, I'm like, yeah, every time you judged your friend because she struggled with her baby and you didn't struggle with yours, and you told her, oh, you're just not following wake windows, this is payback. This is you understanding that every baby is different and their needs are different, and the challenges that the mothers will have to go through are entirely different. So don't you stand there and judge any mother who's struggling with anything that you didn't struggle. Count your blessings. I have had 5 children. My first one was that typical colicky, witching hours, waking up, a ton of times throughout the night. Very difficult newborn baby. He had, milk protein allergy, all of that, that nice little combo that makes for a little bit of a challenging journey in motherhood. My fifth baby is the complete opposite. He's easy. He's smiley. He cries for food and for a burp. And once he has those two things, he's good to go. He doesn't really ask for anything else. He naturally started sleeping through the night as long as we followed sleep hygiene, which we teach. Um, my fourth and third baby were somewhere in the middle, what I call a normal baby. And my second was very similar to this fifth baby, right? So every child is completely different. And having gone through 5 different children with completely different newborn experiences, even today, every time I have a baby, my third had a little bit of an issue with latching. I was a third time breastfeeding mother. I knew how to breastfeed. He had a little bit of an issue latching. So I had to work with him a lot more than I had to with other of my babies. But I acknowledged that challenge, that he was different, and that's his need. I was just thinking this morning, my children are a little bit older now, but my third is about three in a few months, right? And he was playing with blocks today. And my 5.5-year-old was also playing with blocks, and what they were building was so different. My 3.5-year-old was very strategic, very organized, like a little engineer, really building a creation that had to be clean. The colors have to be aligned, put that block like this and like that so that the structure is strong. Whereas my 5.5-year-old, him, it's all about optics. The bigger, the crazier, the better, right? And I was just sitting there looking at them. I was like, they were so different as babies, and they're so different as children, right? And I think for some reason we accept that children are different from one another, but we don't accept that babies are different from one another, which is just weird to me, right? Um, so it's important for us to acknowledge that becoming a mom of two comes with its own challenges. Becoming a mom of three comes with another set of challenge. Becoming a mom of four comes with there never stops being a moment where a mom has a baby, and she's such an expert that you don't need to care about her well-being. Especially when I see a mom expecting her second and third, I know the challenges that come with that. And I'm like, okay, come here, come here. Let's talk about it. Like, let's prepare you, because it is challenging. It is very challenging to be a mom of two compared to a mom of one. The first time you're alone at home and they both start crying at the same time, and then you start crying because you don't know what to do because both of them are crying at the same time, that's a silent struggle that you don't see on social media or on TV, but we all go through it at least once.
and and I love that raw reality because it is a fact. It is a fact. Into if it's the first one, then everybody's around you, and then if it's the second, third, fourth one, then it's just you are just changing your T-shirt. No, you're not. Your body still have the same challenge, and
Hmm.
you don't even know. Like literally, you are dealing cards. You don't know the baby that you are going to have. You don't know if with the first and second you have your hormones in a way that you didn't have postpartum depression or anxiety. You don't know if in the fourth or fifth one you're going to have deep depression. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I want to talk with you, one of the comments that we have live is one of the comments was that instead of approaching things logically, sometimes we tend to let our emotions take over and things deteriorate from there. And even when I partially agree with that, I also realize that as females, especially on the in that matrescence and on that fourth trimester, there are so many emotions. So instead of trying to judge ourselves into thinking that we need to be thinking logically all the time, is being aware that especially on that first couple of months of adjustment, we will have a lot of emotions going on and how we can balance that. That take me to the last point that I want to talk with you into what we can do to stop surviving and start thriving in motherhood.
So her comment is actually great for that discussion because it's in part true. It's just that there's missing, she's commenting she can't write a novel. So I'll write the novel for you. But basically, it's first of all, we need to acknowledge the emotionally charged journey of becoming a parent. We need to stop taking pictures of grandma holding a newborn with a mom in bed bleeding, okay, in her hospital gown. Let's just start, first of all, acknowledging that these mothers, they're human beings. Because honestly, as intense as that may sound, from the work that I've done and the people I've spoken to, there's a lot of people who literally do not acknowledge that a mother is a person. I had this week the beautiful experience of having a grandmother who's actually been following us and doing our seminars buy the program for her daughter, the best program that we offer, no questions asked, because she sees her and she acknowledges her emotional struggle and she acknowledges how difficult this is for her. And instead of judging her, she said, what can I do as someone who loves her to help her? Let me gift her that solution, right? And so I think there's a two-step process. And this is what we do on our calls with people who inquire about our services. You'll see a lot of business owners talk about strategies for sales calls and all these things. We don't use any strategies whatsoever. Okay. We have a very basic process. The first part of the call and the first part of any conversation we hold with a mother is tell me honestly, what is going on? Okay. What is the problem? What is the issue? Oh, my baby wakes up at this, and that, da, da, da. So they give us, the strategic issues. And then we pause and I say, okay, how are you feeling? And they'll usually respond something along the lines of, oh, I'm holding up. And then we'll respond with, no, I'm legitimately asking you how you are feeling. I'm actually interested in knowing. Because most people who ask them, how are you? They don't want you to actually tell them how you are because they don't know how to respond to that. So everybody's learned culturally to say, I'm okay, I'm fine. So I re-asked the question a second time. No, I'm legitimately asking, how are you? And then that's when all the emotions come out. And I just sit there and I listen. I just listen. I purposely plan a good 30 to 40 minutes in each one of my calls in case a mother has a lot to unload. And I just listen. And then once she's done, I acknowledge her emotions. But then I do step two that the commenter brought upon. I said, okay, so we have a problem. It's affecting you. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, off of our chest, which is good, let's be logic and find a solution. Here are the solutions I can offer you. Which one do you want? I'd like this one. Great. Let's get you in now. And that's it. So I think there's a two-step process to this where we do have to let women express their emotions, but you can't stay there. That's the problem. In any challenge, and I teach this to my students and I teach this to my staff, life will throw challenges at you. Motherhood is a giant one, but there are many other challenges you'll be thrown in life. And it is important to acknowledge the challenge. It is important to acknowledge how it makes you feel. It's important to allow yourself to get mad or sad or stressed or whatever it is that you need to feel, but don't move in. This is it's a transition. You're passing through that moment, but then after that, you have to say, okay, I got it out of my system. What can I do to fix this? And then you have to move on. And I think in our society, there's two extremes. There's this new, almost toxic positivity mindset where it's like you should ignore all of your problems, right? And like your roof breaks and your house floods and you get a COVID at the same time and your car explodes and you should just be sitting there blessed and thinking, oh, how marvelous is life, and never allow yourself to feel any emotions, which I think is complete insanity, right? And it's damaging. And then and that's the feminine side of things, right? um or like trying to block out emotions, whereas we need to feel emotions. But the other side of it is the trauma focused part of our society, where everything is a trigger, everything is a trauma, everything is, you can't say anything anymore at all under any circumstances because you're going to piss somebody off, you're going to upset somebody. And we identify problems and we focus on them and we emotionally charge them. Like we stay there, we get angry, we get really, really frustrated, we get sad, but we stay there. And we don't take that fire to actually find a solution. We take that fire to continue fighting, but in a way that keeps hurting us. Instead of being, I am not about this. This is not what I want. I don't want this. This is what I want. And how am I going to get there? And if you don't know how, go find somebody who can teach you how, right? Um, and these are the two extremes that I'm seeing in motherhood, but in society as a whole today. It's either, ignore all of your problems and be blissfully, happy, even though inside you're dying, versus the person who's like, let's burn our bras, because we're so pissed off about XYZ, but we're not actually going to do anything about it.
I love that, and I love how you are making that point that is not ever black and white. So it's not we have to be logical all the time. We have to let our emotion is. We need to understand that as human beings we have both, and we need to honor both the emotions and then the logic. Samantha, thank you so much. As we close the program, why you don't just share? If you could share one thing with all the moms that are listening to us around the world, what that will be, and also share briefly before we close how they can learn more about BeBaby and work with you and reach out to you to help them to thrive.
I would say this. When you are in motherhood, you have two choices, kind of like a fork in the road. You can either take that journey that most people take into pure survival and struggling and decide that that's what you want and that's what you like. Or you can decide to do something completely different and say, you know what? No, I want to thrive. I want to feel good. I want to feel energized. I want to be confident. I want to be happy. I want to be the best mom and the best me that I can be. And I'm going to need some help and I'm going to get some help. And at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, this is a decision that you are taking. The help is available. Choosing to take it or not to take it is completely up to you. What I want to tell you is I'm on this side of the bridge, the part where I'm thriving, and it is a lovely place to be. It is a beautiful place to be. And I highly encourage you to consider maybe blocking out the sounds and the noise that tell you that you need to stay in the struggle bus, and consider that you deserve more and your children deserve more of you, not a partially exhausted survival version of you, a happy, confident, healthy version of you. So anybody who wants to reach out to us for help, you can email us at info@bebabyusa.com, or you can also research our group called BeBaby Family, and you can call or text at any time at 561-814-3340.
Okay, thank you so much, Samantha. And all of you already know that info at bebabyusa.com. Reach out for the help that is available for you is possible. Thank you so much, Samantha. It was a pleasure to have you here. And for everybody that is listening to us, if you are interested, go into social media, follow me. I have a nice free challenge for our manifestation next week. So it is available for all of you. Thank you so much, Samantha. Looking forward to keep seeing you rocking the world. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out www.spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.